yourself?
I'm well, thank you. So, it's Garyn, is that right?
Yeah.
I've never met a Garyn before.
Really?
No.
Nice.
Have you ever met another one?
No, not really. I've heard the name before, like roaming around on the internet, but not in person.
But you've seen the spelling before too?
Yeah.
Do you know much about it?
No, not really. I think in German it means guardian angel.
Okay.
But besides that, I don't know much.
In German that is, eh?
Yeah.
Garyn.
What about your name?
Binyam. Binyam is, so in my language it's Binyam, but in the original Hebrew language it's Binyamin,
Okay.
from which we get Benjamin.
Oh.
Benjamin.
Okay.
And literally translated, it means, so the Ben part stands for son in the Hebrew culture.
Okay.
The Yamin stands for the right arm. So, son of my right hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
As a result, all, like, they've found general stereotype amongst those who have the name Benjamin, that the right arm is slightly, I think, 2% larger than the left arm.
Really?
No, just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what?
Jeez, no, that's not at all right. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, right. Just one big arm.
Oh, look at that arm. He must be called Benjamin.
Yeah, right.
How was your Tuesday, man?
Oh, pretty good.
Pretty good?
Just kind of started, you know.
Oh, nice. This is not bad. Wait, does that mean you were up late?
No, it was just kind of like I'm headed to work now, so
I see.
mostly doing some cleaning.
You do a lot of cleaning, did you say?
Yeah, just at my
Okay.
house.
Gotcha.
What about yourself? How's your day been?
There's been business, which is good. It's not as busy as I'm hoping to see yet. So I'm still sort of like watching the dynamics as they evolve. It's challenging to try and figure out, you know, what people's schedules are and when it's super busy versus when it isn't. So it's a bit of a challenge that way to try and navigate. But
Okay.
I'm watching those elements, and
You'll get there.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
For sure.
I believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. How long have you been Ubering
For a year and a half.
for? Wow.
Indeed, yeah. So I very much enjoy the job. It's Calgary's a great place to Uber. There was lots of demand once upon a time. I think it's just in this current season where we're trying to figure out what's the next step and how does that evolve, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just that dynamic there. Yeah. What do you do for work?
Oh, I just work in retail for now.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, at the moment.
So at least it's inside,
Yeah.
out of the elements.
You know Vans? Like the shoe store?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's where
I
you work. Oh, cool. They have a pretty strong brand name, don't they?
work. Yeah, I'd say so.
How have they maintained that strength? Do you know? Because I remember when I was young, they were still a thing, and they still are a thing now. And I'm often
For the
intrigued by it.
most part, like, all I can say, like, the one consistent thing we do is just customer service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Besides that, I don't really know the secret of why we're still going strong.
Yeah. I'm often intrigued by those dynamics because it tells a lot about people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That people would say, hey, we're going to assign more worth to this over this one here. And why is the big thing. And I'm like, there's got to be more behind it. I'd love to have a peek into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of neat though to watch.
Have you studied business or anything like that?
I did take some business in my first degree, which is accounting. I don't remember much of those studies, but I've definitely done a lot of reading of books and informally, you know, just listening to podcasts and so on. So that's, I guess, the access that I would have by way of like looking into business. So I kind of understand some of the principles, but I wouldn't say in a formal way. Yeah.
A lot better than I know. So.
Okay. Yeah, I find it interesting, especially just because for me it's like, so the point of business is always to make your sales, to make profit, but how to get there, like how to be able to say to someone, an idea, for example, or a product, and I'm going to communicate it about it in such a way that you'll want this. So you're talking a lot about how to do a convincing game in people's minds, right? And there's fascinating ways in which they do so. So the whole gist behind it, the whole push seems to be, how do you talk about, how do you create a story that revolves around whatever it is you're hoping to sell and make money. Basically, you're trying to say to someone, I want you to consider whatever I'm presenting, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, as more worthwhile than the money you're willing to give up for it. There's an exchange happening there, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to get something because they think this something is more in worth than the money they're going to give to you.
Yeah.
It's an interesting transaction there, isn't it? So like, for example, Vans, there's people who will go to your store specifically, they'll pass by other stores which may do the same thing because there's been association made for them where they've been convinced this is what they want over the other options.
Yeah.
Something about the other options just failed to hit the mark on the dot in a way that this product here did. So they're like, yeah, I'm willing to like drive across town even if need be, you know, spend a lot of money. Maybe I'll spend like, I don't know, $70 from across town on an Uber ride just so I can buy these however many dollar shoes, you know. So that's a fascinating thing. And you take whatever else in business, you know, from your eyeglasses that you're wearing to the mask that you're wearing to whatever else it is, and the real story is, how do you make that story? Because people love stories.
Oh, yeah.
They see themselves in the story. They see themselves as part of that continuation of a story, right?
Yeah.
So it's really intriguing.
Right, now you got me fascinated with it too.
I know. There's a lot of psychology involved, right? A lot of psychology in this to say, there's a way that we'll approach and then there's a way that we'll avoid approaching because we want to make that connection.
Yeah.
What works well, what doesn't. For example, our interaction here, you could have gotten in the vehicle and you could have been totally like I could have given off a different vibe, you know, where it was like hey, and just kind of kept it really hostile kind of thing, right? It would give a different feel for this ride.
Yeah.
But here we are having a conversation and connecting, you know.
Yeah.
So there's just those dynamics that says there are some ways that seem better in getting to this destination and other ways which are not so helpful.
Yeah.
Socially, that's the same thing. We're like, when you're going to work, yeah, you're selling a product, but you're also selling yourself. You're saying, from your vantage point, Vans have done so well, perhaps because of the good customer service. But you see what the customer service, all the customer service was, at least from my perspective, was that you were selling yourself. You were selling yourself and the company was getting the benefit of your personality that's attaching value to their brand. I think we're all salespeople. Anyone and everyone who looks at the mirror before they head out the door, what are they doing? They're preparing to make a sale to the world, saying, here's me presenting myself, and here's how I'm going to present myself based on what I think is valuable for me, you know, and say, okay, good, now I'm ready to sell this image, the way I communicate, the way I look, the way I speak, you know, all these elements are like factored in very carefully. What are you going to wear? What are you not going to wear, right?
Yeah.
I wear a bow tie all the time. I'm selling myself. That's kind of like what I do, right? I wear a fedora.
Yeah.
That's another thing, right? And so some will sell themselves by way of assimilation, saying, I want to just fly under the radar so no one notices me. So I'm going to be like everyone else. So they'll dress similar to everyone else so that they will avoid that kind of attention.
Yeah.
Others will look for distinct ways of presenting themselves so that they do stand out, and that's important to them, right? So there's that element as well too. You weren't preparing for this in your Uber ride to work.
Yeah, right.
But watch for it now. You know, when you're going back to work now, you'll be able to see all these elements, even as your customers are coming into your store. Yeah, they're coming to buy a product, but guess what else they're doing? They're selling an image. They're selling an image that says, this is where I find worth, and I'm going to invest money to look this way so that I can be perceived in this way. They're selling themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're going to use
it gives you some more insight into what's to watch, you know, when you're watching people, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure part of all that is people watching. When you're seeing your customers, you're trying to come at the right frequency to say, what's this person interested in, and how can I give what it is they're interested in. That's not always easy. For example, imagine if you came in here and you were giving me some clear signals that you weren't interested in having a conversation, but I was totally missing them, right? There I'd be missing the point of what you were trying to communicate there, right?
Yeah.
So.
Wow, you're blowing my mind, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really? Thank you.
That's why I find it really interesting, engaging, you know?
Yeah.
It's basically, we're just playing a game, aren't we? We're playing a game and saying, how do we move to the next? Oh, this poor person had a bit of a rear-ender, do you see?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not so obvious, but you can kind of tell there. Ouch. Yeah, might have been when it was icy or something along the way.
Since I'm still operating.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not worse than it could be.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few of them on the icy and snowy roads, and so it's kind of like, ouch, that's a bad day for said person. I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, it's all good.
Oh, there's another example. You'll notice most cars on the road, they don't have those kind of cracks and brakes, right? In some countries, most people drive around vehicles that are dented and, you know, hanging together, you know?
Yeah.
But here in our culture, we don't. Most of the